Do you want to share something, Prana?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking with the spiritual care team that she was describing of also like what's been in the conversation in America these days are things like, that book, The Body Keeps the Score, and the idea of like like various traumas that we've been through and how they affect our body and how we hold on to it and it makes us sick. And it seems like, it's in the conversation, but nothing's like happening at all in the healthcare industry, nor will it likely. But it seems like, Mira Road, Bhaktivedanta Hospital, like really has, is addressing that also.
Yeah, very much so, and very actively. I can give you one example just to contrast that experience that you had, Raghu. There was one patient, a woman who was she was on her deathbed. She had two young children, and her husband had just passed away as well. So naturally, she was in so much anxiety. What's going to happen to my children? And so the Bhaktivedanta Hospital sent out an email about her asking for donations, and that email went viral. And
Wow.
people were able to, they essentially got the press to cover her case. The people at the Bhaktivedanta Hospital took the press articles to the bank, who then agreed to waive the loan for the mortgage. So the house is going to be the children's once they turn 18. Then they took that bank note and went to their universities, who waived their tuition. And so, and then they made sure that they were going to be taken care of by other family members, and even staff from the Bhaktivedanta Hospital continue to take care of those children as well.
Okay, hold on a second. How many
Exactly.
people want to get sick in Bombay? Raise your hand. Let's do it. Let's get sick in Mumbai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Govardhan Eco Village in beautiful Maharashtra, India. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a Bhakti Yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath. And Kostuba's taking a day off today because we have a special interview day. It is Monday, January 12th, 2026 is episode 1720. Here with Prana Priya and a special guest. We're going to talk about the book,
Magic on Me.
The Magic. That's a great title, isn't it? I was going to say Miracle on 34th Street, but that's a whole different book. My favorite childhood movie. Santa Claus is real. Anyway, we're here also live with a bunch of students, pilgrims. I wish I could just spin the camera around, but we like to do this during Wisdom of Sages in India time, to grab somebody, pull them in front of the camera, and play Meet the Pilgrim. We're not going to do that today because they really just sort of landed from all around the world, really. Europe and Uruguay and Texas, and it's just like a whole plethora of wonderful places. But everyone's just sort of, we have an enthusiastic group, and I will say I had a very nice birthday yesterday. Wasn't that nice?
It was great. I know all our listeners are wanting to know how your birthday was because we were thinking about having a birthday show yesterday because you love spending your birthday with lots and lots of people.
Yes. I wish I had the birthday show, but yeah, everybody took such sweet care, and you and I had a lot of good time together. I had a lot of good time with my son, and then we had a big boom in Kirtan, and
you got a lot of gifts as well.
I got a lot of wonderful gifts, and Bhakti Recovery is here, so maybe we can talk about that during the week too. And yeah, I'm excited for everybody. And the Kirtan school ended, and Mridanga school started today as well. So
Kirtan School had a pretty epic, offering for their final day.
yeah, their finale was quite wonderful. And between Bobby and Lala, they just it was like a grand slam home run. But I'm really excited about our special guest. Where's my glasses here? Any other announcements? I have to say something about
Italy.
Oh yeah, Italy's happening July 4th. July 4th to the 11th. It's our annual trip. This year, we decided to just do it at one place because we had so many people, had so many places, and it was a great trip, but the management got hard to manage it all. And some people said, I wish we were just in one place. So this year we've got McKelly's place. McKelly's been on the podcast before. They have this beautiful, incredible Tuscany estate, and they're into Bhakti. And if you've ever wanted to go to Italy, this is a great way to do it. You know, sometimes vacations can drag you away from your spiritual path. This is like a Krishna conscious vacation where you're in beautiful Italy. We go to all the beautiful places. We go to the sea. We go swimming in springs. We go to, you know, adorable towns. We're 20 minutes from Venice, which is like this, you know, the epicenter of Renaissance Europe, and Florence. What did I say? Venice. And we're not near Venice. Actually, everything's reasonably close. We're not that far from Venice if you think about it. But I'm really looking forward to it. But there's limited spaces. There's like 80% sold. So if anybody's interested, they should write to who?
WOTSItaly@gmail.com. But it's also info on our website. Wisdom.
Okay, info on our wisdomsages.com. But WOTS 108, no, WOTS Italy@gmail.com, and lock that in. It's a great place if you've got a partner that is sort of like not sure about your spiritual path. Then you say something like, hey, let's go to Italy. And they just get swept up in the current of Bhakti. So great. We have a special guest here today. Radha Bhakti, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much. Just turned the corner at 60. It's a whole new decade for me.
Wow, congratulations.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a little intimidating and when people ask your age and you're like, I'm 60. It's like very loud.
60
you know,
is the new
it's sort of, yeah, that's what I've been telling myself, but 60 is also 60. You know, 60 is the new 40. Tell that to my knees. My knees are like, nope, 60, 60. That's what my knees are. But thank you very much. And today is a beautiful day of like goal setting, what I want to do this decade, and who I want to become, and what I want to offer. And so it's quite exciting for me. So you did something wonderful, and I want to just share that. And this is how this project of yours, this book, came about. And from what I understand, 2013, you're connected with Radhanath Swami.
Yeah, kind of, through friends, actually.
He's a very special soul in my life as well. And he blogged about a transformation of heart, not just health, but heart, that takes place not far from where we are right now, the Bhaktivedanta Hospital. And he asked for an English speaker / writer to go and interview the staff and patients and put their stories down in a book. Now, it seems something sort of odd. Go to a hospital.
Yeah.
Go to a hospital and talk to the patients and talk to... The last time I was in the hospital, and I had some weird episode. Remember that episode I had last summer where I had like the Home Depot episode where I was like, something's weird with my body. And it was just like, doctors were like, it was nothing, but it was a tangible episode. It was definitely something. And I went into the hell of going to an American hospital and sitting in like an emergency room and then in like a hallway under these like Kmart lighting. And I'm like sitting, it was just like such a disturbing experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, anyway, Radha Bhakti, she went without much thought, put her hand up, I want to do this, and was the only one. And she lived at the hospital on weekdays for 2 months and interviewed over 100 staff, patients, and their families. And now their stories are compiled in a book, Magic on Mira Road. And that's the address of the hospital. And it's very close to here. And I haven't read this book because I can't get a copy of it yet, but I will when I get to Mumbai because there's none here at the Govardhan Eco Village. But super eager to read it, and I'll tell you why. I had when Radhanath Swami's book first came out, A Journey Home, I took a huge group of students to India, and our first stop was Mumbai. So one lady said to me, you know, I just read his book. I'd love to go early and render some service. And so she came with me, and on the way, she was like going up the stairs, and she tripped, and I think she broke her ankle. And you know, we were at that time. We went to holy places in South India. Plus, we had 3 days in Varkala, which is like a beach. And I was like, oh my God, this poor girl came with every good intention And she ended up getting a whole huge Maha cast on her leg. And I was like, this is gonna stink for her so bad. And then I'm dealing, and I didn't really, then people started showing up, and she was, we had to wheel her around. We're at a beach, and she's got a leg cast on, and she's going through all the other hassles you go through traveling around India. She didn't go home. I thought she'd go home. She didn't go home. And at the end, when people were sharing, like, what was your most important and inspirational part of your trip? Some people would say, oh, when we got to Vrindavan, we bowed down in the dust of Vrindavan. Some people said, when we went to that temple, I was so overwhelmed. Something burst in me. Someone said, oh, when that nice devotee came and spoke to us and gave us the Mahaprasad. Everyone had some spiritual experience. And she was with this, looked us all in the eye, said, my most spiritual experience on this entire trip was the love and the care and the devotion that went on Mira Road at the Bhaktivedanta Hospital. Those people changed the entire trip.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing. And when I heard about your book, Radha Bhakti, I was like, yes. So please share with us. We're very eager to hear your story and how it turned out.
Oh, well, thank you again. And thank you again for having me. And that's a great story. And I feel like I was that girl, a little nervous going to a hospital, not really knowing what it would be about, particularly going to a hospital in India. It can be really daunting for those of you who've had an experience at a hospital in India. Let me say that many of those hospitals just don't have the same standards of cleanliness and service that we might have in the West. And so it was very daunting.
Sure.
But just to backtrack a little, the reason why I did it, to your point, Niranjan Swami had written this blog post about this hospital. And two of my friends who are his disciples called me and they were like, Radha Bhakti, we really think you're supposed to do this service. And just months before that, I had returned from India after having volunteered at the Sandipani Muni School in Vrindavan. And I was feeling this calling. Yeah, it was so cool. And I was feeling this calling to go back to India. I was just feeling like I'm not quite ready to go back to like my corporate life in downtown Toronto where I'm from. So I decided,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and it was kind of like on a whim, as you said. It was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to book a one-way ticket to India, go back to Vrindavan, volunteer at the school, and then go to Bombay and go live at a hospital. And it was literally that. In hindsight, I'm like, what was I thinking? Because I didn't know anything about.
Makes no material sense whatsoever.
It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And the first time I got to this hospital, I realized that, so I was coming from Vrindavan, and for those of you who've been to Vrindavan, you sort of feel like you're in this very spiritual environment, and then you go to Mumbai and you feel like it's the opposite, right? It's like big city, bright lights, total opposite from a spiritual experience.
Sure.
And so when I got...
I mean, it has a vibe like, did a bomb go off and no one decided to move out?
Yeah.
It's like, it's got that type of chaos.
So we were just saying, I think Mumbai is like, it's like Lower East Side on steroids, the whole of the city, like it's just crazy how chaotic it is. And the first time I actually went to the hospital, it was at a function called Annual Day. And it's essentially the day at the beginning of the year where they honor the staff for their services and they just sort of thank them and talk about the year's events. And it's all on the lawn of the hospital. And I went there and it was like this beautiful carnival of sorts where the kids were running around and playing and they had games and food. And then this program starts on the stage and the sun is setting and there's twinkle lights and there's incense and camphor. And on the stage, there is a deity of Srila Prabhupada, who is the person who brought this philosophy of bhakti to the rest of the world. And these deities of Jagannath, Baladeva, and Subhadra, who are different forms of Krishna and his siblings. And my first thought was like, wait, where am I? And the program begins by us, can you all hear me? Yeah, I think people can hear me. I think you're cutting out a bit, Raghunath.
Oh, okay, good. As long as I can hear you, keep going, please.
Okay, yeah, of course. So I just, the program started with us standing up and reciting these prayers called the Shikshastakam prayers. And I just thought, oh my gosh, where am I? It just felt like I was going from the spiritual world in Vrindavan to this random corner of Bombay called Mira Road. And that was also the spiritual world. And in walked Radhanath Swami and Giriraj Swami, these two exceptional monks in the Bhakti tradition. And I just felt like, whoa, I was so worried about leaving Vrindavan, but I'm actually in a little corner of Vrindavan here in Mumbai as well. So it's really amazing.
I'm asking the origin of the hospital. Can you share?
Yeah, so it started off with these four medical school students who were also Bhakti practitioners. And they were sort of in school, feeling a little jaded by the industry as a whole, feeling like people are in it for politics, people are in it for money. And they were really feeling this calling to help people holistically. They wanted to engage in care for the body, mind, and soul. And all of these opportunities were presenting themselves for them to open their own hospitals, open their own clinics, and really become wealthy. And they just thought, this is weird. We can't, while there's so much poverty in the slums of Mumbai, how do we turn our backs on all of these people and just go and make a ton of money? And so they really felt like we can't, that doesn't feel authentic to us. So they banded together under the guidance of Radhanath Swami and started going into the slums of Mumbai. And they would offer care for the body, mind, and soul for the impoverished residents of these slums for free. So they would go, they would chant Hare Krishna and treat people for their physical maladies. And soon somebody donated an ambulance so they could go to different slums around India and around Mumbai. And now they have a 300-bed holistic care facility where now they're so much bigger, but their intention is the same, to provide holistic care and to do that for free for as many people as possible. They still go out into the slums, and patients and staff, both the staff as well, I want to highlight, the patients and the staff feel such an abundance of care that it just kind of spills over for both the patients and the staff. Staff say that they don't want to go home at the end of their shifts. Patients say they don't want to be discharged at the end of the day. And that's why we called it Magic on Mira Road, because there really is a particular magic about this place where you really feel like you're being treated on the level of the soul, regardless of your religion, the color of your skin, your nationality, etc. It's a really special place.
Yeah, it's not a Hindu hospital.
Right.
Everybody's welcome there, and they treat everybody just with love. It's really what Vedic culture does, which is, it doesn't convert with a sword. It helps you it reminds us what we actually are,
Yeah.
and the culture itself is so attractive. People want to be around it. You don't want to leave the hospital. How crazy is that? They
Yeah.
don't want to go home. It's the opposite in the material realm, not just in the medical world, but in the workplace. If there's no spirit in the workplace, I want to go home and get, and relax and zone out. But if there's spirit there, like my job, I'm blessed. Like I love what I do
Yeah.
because it's a revolving around hearing and chanting the Bhagavad Gita or the message of the Bhagavad Gita, having kirtan, being with people, going to different places. And I never wanted to stop. People are like, why do you work so hard? I love what I want to die doing this. I'm okay. By the way, I'm just putting that out right now. If I die while you're here, I'm okay with it. Do not feel bad. I'm okay.
Well,
That's how I want
don't
to
do
live
that.
huh?
Don't do that.
Fortunately, I don't die. That's the good news. But so what was some unique magic you've experienced while you were there? Did you
Yeah.
have particular people, staff, or people, patients that sort of stood out for you?
There's so much of that. There's this one team at the hospital called the spiritual care team. And I think they're really the heart of the hospital, and they are the reason that people feel like they don't want to leave. So their only job when a patient comes into the hospital is to befriend them. So they have some basic medical training where they just they can speak at the level of what the patient is going through, but otherwise their whole job is to just ask them lifestyle questions, essentially understand the emotionality behind what they're going through, and just to talk to them. And this team, I would say, is like so much of the magic that people experience at this hospital, because there's such an emotionality behind the reasons why people are at a hospital. So people
Wow.
say that
Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. So people walk into the hospital for a physical ailment like a broken arm, and then they say that they leave the hospital having like mended relationships, so that you really walk away with like this feeling of being cared for holistically. And then after patients are discharged, there are so many programs that are available for patients as well. So there's like One example that's given in the book is that they have, let's say somebody's going in for their eyes, they'll have a session that inviting patients about how to take care of your eyes, and then it will be followed by something spiritual like real vision. And so people are just so amazingly attracted because they're just getting so much love and spiritual knowledge at the same time as getting treated physically. I would also say that the staff always said that there's such an abundance of care. Imagine going to a job. Imagine being a doctor or a nurse where you're constantly surrounded by death, by sickness, by blood, by trauma, by all of these.
Tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are being taken care of in terms of receiving mentorship, both spiritual and other. You are, if you have financial difficulties in your spiritual, in your personal life, this hospital is taking care of you that way, like helping you find a place to live. If there's somebody sick in your family, they're helping you take care of your family. They are just taking such good care of the staff that the staff just feels like exactly what you just said. My job is to be loving, and I'm receiving so much love that it just pours out of me. It's so easy for me to give love to patients and other people. And the thing is that you feel this with the people who are booking your appointments. You feel this with the janitorial staff. You feel it with the housekeepers because everybody is just given so much love, and there's something so incredibly special. You walk into this hospital, they had to put a sign outside that said, please don't remove your shoes because people think it's like a temple. Because you walk in and there's pictures, there's beautiful Bhakti art, there's a deity of Srila Prabhupada, there's camphor, there's incense, and you hear the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantras faintly in even at like the stairwells, even in the mortuary, everywhere you hear this chanting. It does not feel like an ordinary place at all.
It, it's not frozen dinner. It's just the way the food industry is set up in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
Everything is pre-prepared.
Yeah.
Whereas the food at the Bhaktivedanta Hospital, it's real food. I want to go there tonight for dinner. It's like
Yeah.
that type of quality.
Yeah. And the hospital offers vegetarian, wholesome food for everybody, all patients. It's also what's offered in the canteen. And there are so many people who, are like major meat eaters that are always saying that they're so
Thumbs up, please.
surprised.
Okay. Are you talking? Can people hear
Yeah,
her?
I'm so sorry.
I
Yeah,
apologize. It's our bad. We are in the little village in India.
no, that's
This
okay.
is what we're dealing with. Um, okay, Prana wants to ask you a question here.
Sure.
Well, I haven't. I'm looking forward to reading the book. I haven't read it yet, but I did see that you had your own experience of a health episode, right? Of some sort. Can you tell me what happened? Will you share that?
Yeah, thank you. So I started this project so long ago. I started this project in 2014. And when it was becoming closer and closer to publication, I was like, I need to have an epilogue. So much has happened since that time. And what I decided to write about in the epilogue is a health episode that I had here in New York City. I have a condition, it's a neurological condition called hemifacial spasm. And anyway, long story short, I had to have a parathyroid removed here in New York City. And so in the epilogue, I really detail that experience, what I went through, how the condition began, how I was treated by doctors here in America. And by no means was it a negative experience, but it's just comparing and contrasting the way I was treated here in New York versus how patients are treated in Mumbai at the Bhaktivedanta Hospital. So really simple, small things and little nuances that really affect a patient's experience. The Bhaktivedanta Hospital is on it. Like they're thinking about every facial expression. They're thinking about everything a patient can see in the room, every sound a patient can hear. And so objectively, I had a relatively good experience. But for example, I walked into the OR, they're about to cut my neck open, and there's hip hop on in the background because the surgeon was like, I need to have hip hop on because it just feels like that. It's like, it felt to me like a wrestler entering his ring. You know what I mean?
The last thing I want if somebody cuts my neck open is to listen to hip hop.
Exactly. So it's like he's such a nice person and I know he's a competent surgeon, but why is there hip hop? And then I had an anesthesiologist who he was clearly having a bad day and he did not hide it. He was like I don't know, he was disheveled, he smelled like smoke and wasn't really talking to me. He was swearing because the iPad wasn't working, and then he couldn't get a good vein on my hand. And again, he was a nice person, and I have so much empathy for doctors in this side of the world, and even honestly around the world, who work in these systems that set them up
Sure.
to not be personal. Um, but I was just longing so much for somebody to talk to me as something that might be so basic to a healthcare practitioner, but so traumatizing for me, like a scar. Like, there's emotionality
Right.
behind a scar. It's not just you nurse
Sure.
it, you'll feel better. There's something really makes you feel vulnerable about that. Or this is so silly, but I actually write about this in the epilogue again. I woke up from surgery, and when I was leaving the hospital, like there was like a ball of cotton in my sock. And when came home and I was processing that, I was like, wait, like why if the surgery is here, why are they at my sock? And did somebody take off my sock and like do something? Like, there's just all these questions you have when you wake up from surgery. Like, and then also my spasms were still taking place, and I was like, did I do the surgery for no reason? I'm Canadian, so I'm like, did they just want my money? Like, you have all these
Right.
questions and all these fears, and to have had somebody in the spiritual care department to just speak to me about all of those things would have made all the difference in my healing. To go home after such a procedure and kind of feel like you're on your own is very scary, and that prolongs healing as well.
Sure. That totally makes sense.
What to speak of, I feel like, in our side of the world, it's like anytime you're dealing with a healthcare professional, what to speak of like going to surgery, it's like everybody just like name, date of birth, name, date of birth.
Yes.
Can you confirm your date of birth? What's your last name? It's like they don't even speak to you like, what's your name? Nice to meet you. How do you
Yeah.
pronounce that? Am I saying it correctly? There's
Yeah.
like so little personal touch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and the beautiful thing is they heal that, they fix that problem, because the whole world will follow the way Americans are doing it. Okay, we got to get our insurance straight first. We got to make sure we know who their contacts are, etc. But they fix the problem from the ground up, not going into another hospital and trying to create like a little spiritual bubble around the hell that you're dealing with in a hospital,
Yeah.
but starting it from nothing with and think about it. They put in their time of becoming educated, and then they say, let's just do this for nothing.
Yeah.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah, and this book will talk about that both in the introduction where I give a little history, but then also this book is a compilation of interviews, including with the founders, a couple of trustees, Radhanath Swami, and then there's beautiful patient interviews as well, and it's interspersed with some of my journal entries, and you'll hear about this what a struggle that was in the beginning. So they're backed by this amazing devotee of Bhakti, and also a business person called Rishikesh Mafatlal. And so
Oh,
he's like,
we know him well.
yeah, so he's an exceptional business person. So he was kind of bringing that lens to everything, like how do we help you be financially sustainable, all of those things. And one of the things he talks about is like for him it was so amazing to see people who were putting people over profits, because he's a business person. When he first came to Bhakti, he was like, this is something really special. You don't see this often. But you see how they struggled in the beginning to maintain their focus of spiritual care, because running a hospital is no joke. It's so complicated. And there were points where they were starting to feel dissatisfied. And Radhanath Swami was always anchoring them to say, remember why you're doing this. You're doing this first and foremost, obviously to care for people's bodies, but to provide people with love and to provide people with spiritual care. And so every time they felt like they were off course, there was some crazy situation that made them re-anchor. So there was one point when they had to close the hospital for a year because of a major labor strike, which in hindsight they all say that was God's mercy, because we had to refocus and really invest again in loving our staff and making sure that everybody feels cared for, body, mind, and soul. So to your point, like you'll hear about those struggles in the beginning. And I think that they would tell you they still struggle with that, in terms of you can get really caught up in the administration of a hospital. It's not easy. But always anchoring back to spiritual care, no matter what somebody's spiritual background is. Just like we see like the Catholic and Christian hospitals here in the West. It's like that, where you're experiencing bhakti, but everybody is honored, everybody is welcome. You have Muslim volunteers for Muslim patients who are dying and they want to die in a particular way. everybody's traditions are honored, because the reality is Bhakti is universal, and its principles are universal and are applicable to anybody and everybody. So to your point, it's difficult to maintain that, but that's the good fight that they fight every day.
Did you see any deaths or people leaving their body while you were there?
I did. So there was this one day, and I chronicle it in this book as well, that I got to spend the day with the palliative care team, and we went to 6 people's homes who were on their way to leave their bodies soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That were treated by the hospital and then released?
Yeah, so palliative care, you can either be at home or at the hospital. And if you're
Okay.
at home, then the team will come and visit you at home. Um, yeah, it's incredible.
So
So
nice.
it's amazing. This one of my favorite chapters in this book is with the palliative care team, where they're telling me about their experiences, and for me, prior to going, I had such an aversion to hospitals and to death. Once again, why did I do this? I don't know, but I was really nervous that day, like gonna go, see all these patients on their deathbeds, literally, and go talk to their families and be in the midst of death and dying and all these smells, and I was really nervous about it. But the way that this palliative care team takes care of these people and their families, I felt at the end of that day so honored and so joyful. And I never thought I would come back feeling joyful. I thought I would come back in tears, like, oh my gosh, traumatized. But I went and I felt like, what an honor to be able to give people love and care in this incredibly emotional time, both to the patient and their families, and to be able to provide a spiritual lens as to what the patient is going through and what the family is going through, and to help increase understanding. And one of the principles that the palliative care team has is, just talking about how to treat a patient when they're about to leave. And I'm going to read you something, if you don't mind. They have something called the 6 loving exchanges. And so what they say when a patient is about to leave their body or about to pass away, one of the things that they talk about, of course, is like the emotional distress of the patient and of their families. And they say that they encourage people to have these loving exchanges with their loved one. So one is to tell them, I love you. Another one, second is, I know you love me too. Number 3 is, please forgive me for any negative thing I may have done in my life. Number 4 is, I forgive you too. Number 5 is, we will remember you always and never forget you. I believe those 5 are common within palliative care. And then they stress a 6th one, we will be okay after you are gone. And they talk
Wow.
about how so many patients wouldn't leave their bodies, and then shortly after hearing that from the right people, they were able to leave peacefully. So that was maybe one of the most impactful days for me when I was there.
Wow, that's huge, because it's probably the reason why people they can't leave and they're just like hanging on. What am I going to do? What are they going to do without me? It's almost like the thoughts of the materialist, like the whole world needs me.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll die, and people are like, "Oh, Raghunath." Anyway, it'll be a hiccup in time for a handful of people, and then shoo, they just go on busy with their day.
Well, that
But
is not
wow,
true,
what a
but yeah.
yeah, what a way to look at it.
Yeah. It was
We
really
have a
incredible. Hmm.
I would just like to ask Krishna Mai to come on for a second. We have a devotee here that's with us, one of our students and friends, and she works in the hospitals. You're a nurse? Come here, Krishna Mai. You got to talk right into this microphone. What do you think about what she's saying, and compared to, and which hospital do you work in? Come real close.
I work in upstate New York, St. Peter's Hospital. I'm a cardiac nurse.
God bless you.
It's just amazing to hear how different it's heartbreaking, really, because where I work, or any hospital in the States, it's just we shovel them in and then we get them out. There's no focus on mind, body, and spirit, and it's just they're not even trying to fix the problem. They're kind of just covering it up. There's no focus on prevention. It's just give them medications and try to fix them till the next time they come in.
I mean, there's doctors and there's nurses like yourself that actually care. So it's not like you guys are just, is it not just trying to hold people by their ankles and shake the money out of them? What's missing? It's like,
it seems like it's just a business. I mean, there are ones who care, but it kind of just feels like the empathy is gone. It's just focused more on the paycheck and getting the money into the hospital more so than the care of the patients, or even just the like getting their sleep and proper meals. It's just not a focus. So it sounds amazing, this hospital.
Maybe we have a retirement plan for you. You know what I mean? Anyway, thank you for yeah.
God bless you and your
Yeah,
son.
come about. I actually had one of my students was a surgeon who came and volunteered at the hospital years ago. Thank you, Kushmayi. So yeah, I mean, she wasn't holding back. She was being very straightforward. And there's something about, there's something, and there is now an Ayurvedic wing to the hospital as well, correct?
Yeah, and that's something that's so special too, because the approach is truly integrative, and holistic. Radhanath Swami talks about that in his interview. He says how sometimes like various people who belong to different religions will like combat over who's superior. And he said the same thing is true in medical circles. Like allopathy thinks, Ayurveda is just like
Bunch of
superstition.
quacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ayurveda thinks allopathy is like poison and nuclear and like it's going to kill you. And he
Yeah.
says here it's such a holistic and integrated approach where, everybody's consulting with each other for each patient and deciding the best treatment for everybody, which is another reason why people just feel so fully cared for when you're really putting people over profits.
Well,
And then,
it's one of these things when you're sick, you are so vulnerable.
yeah,
You are so vulnerable and you feel so, even with a loving family and stuff, you feel so desperately alone and like helpless.
yeah,
And unless you're in the right hands, you really feel like just like a piece of merchandise. You're just like being pushed around. That last experience I had at St. Peter's, I'd say, what was such a, it was like, that was St. Peter's, right? Oh, maybe it was Albany Med. Sorry. No, you're off the hook there. But it was such a dark experience. And then they just like, after 8 hours of barely anyone even speaking to me, it was just like, oh, you're good. You can go.
yeah,
And just send me back into the world. Like, I'm good. I can go. I mean, I came here because it was something.
yeah,
No, it was nothing. It was something. I was the guy. I know it was something.
yeah,
And so there's just like, it's just like nothing. And I get it. I get it. You're not going to call, how you doing, Raghu? Are you okay? I didn't get that. And I get it. You can't do that with everybody. And I'm sure their staff is overwhelmed. I'm sure there's, problems working in that corporate environment. But there needs to be a new approach if we actually want people, if we're just trying to like create a bunch of robots on this planet, and soon I'm wondering if AI is going to take over, distributing drugs. And then you're dealing with the whole big pharma thing. Like, do you guys want us to get better? It's like, does the casino really want you to win?
yeah,
Like, they're going to be out of business if you all start winning.
yeah,
So it's almost like, I have one of my sons has type 1 diabetes. And it's like, you just get under this. And I hate to be like this, but do you really want to cure it? Or do you want to manage it and prolong it? Because once you cure it, all the shareholders are going to lose money.
yeah,
And it just goes, it brings up this question about the integrity and trust. How can you trust people if their bottom line is, we got to stay in business and we're trying to take care of our shareholders in the corporation. And so there's always been some hesitancy with me in relationship to big pharma. And I'm not saying write it off, and I'm not saying we should just say, oh, you don't need any of this stuff. But yeah, there's got to be some type of a bridge, like you were saying, between a natural approach, a holistic approach. And it seems like the people there have somehow cracked the code, figured out the combination. Did you want to share something, Prana?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking with the spiritual care team that she was describing of also like what's been in the conversation in America these days are things like, that book, The Body Keeps a Score, and the idea of like various traumas that we've been through and how they affect our body and how we hold on to it, and it makes us sick. And it seems like you know, it's in the conversation, but nothing's like happening at all in the healthcare industry, nor will it likely. But it seems like, you know, Mira Road Bhaktivedanta Hospital like really has, you know, is addressing that also.
Yeah, very much so, and very actively. I can give you one example just to contrast that experience that you had, Raghu. You know, there was one patient, a woman who was she was on her deathbed. She had two young children, and her husband had just passed away as well. So naturally, she was in so much anxiety. What's going to happen to my children? And so the Bhaktivedanta Hospital sent out an email about her asking for donations, and that email went viral. And
Wow.
people were able to, they essentially got the press to cover her case. The people at the Bhaktivedanta Hospital took the press articles to the bank, who then agreed to waive the loan for the mortgage. So the house is going to be the children's once they turn 18. Then they took that bank note and went to their universities, who waived their tuition. And so, and then they made sure that they were going to be taken care of by other family members, and even staff from the Bhaktivedanta Hospital continue to take care of those children as well.
Okay, hold on a second. How many
Exactly.
people want to get sick in Bombay? Raise your hand. Let's do it. Let's get sick in Mumbai.
Yeah, it's
That
really,
is a beautiful story. All right,
yeah.
so the $1 million question is, how can we get a hold of this book?
Thank you for asking. So all of the proceeds will be donated to the hospital. So in the US, you can get this at bookrightspress.com or Amazon. In
Okay.
India, you can get it on Tulsi Books. It will soon be available on Amazon in India, but not yet. And then the rest of the world is Amazon.
Is it
And
available in Mumbai right now? Can we get it now in Mumbai?
so it should be at GEV. If it's not there now, it will be soon. But
Yeah,
if nothing else, it should be at Chopati. Hopefully also at Juhu. But again, from Tulsi Books, you can order it online.
we're all going to be in Chowpatty. I think it might be sold out, though. What might be the reason? But we'll get them here, and we'll make sure they're in Chowpatty, and we're going to buy them when we get there. We're super excited. We're going to put that in the show notes. I'm so glad you did this, and I'm so glad the word got out. And it actually gives a lot of hope for a lot of people, too. Because once you start getting sick, you start to feel hopeless in a lot of ways. And that has something to do with your healing as well. Hopelessness is never good in the recipe for getting better. And wow, let's.
I can't wait to read this book. I'm really looking
I
forward
thought
to
you
it.
were-
I've been trying to get a hold of this book for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much. That's really
And
kind.
every
And thank-
year I used to go there and just get my yearly checkup too. So much love and so much care and beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And again, thank you for having me. It really means a lot to me. And again, rest assured, I'm not one to self-promote, but I feel okay about this because all the proceeds will go to this extraordinary facility whose goal is really to provide free care for everyone. So please, even if you don't like it, you're contributing to a great cause.
You know, what a great passion project. It must have been completely enlightening for you to do this. What a great service. It's going to live longer than you do, this book, because it's one of those classics, that inspirational classics, and we'll always recommend it for sure.
Thank
We'll
you.
also share the book links in the show notes as well.
Thank you so much.
Radha Bhakti, keep up the good work. Now maybe you should start doing this stuff like this, inspirational books. You know,
It felt like a calling to like talking to patients, talking to people, hearing their stories. So you never know, there might be a volume 2, volume 3. Let's see.
so good. Thanks for joining us. Really grateful you're here.
Thank you again.
Okay, keep up the good work. Haribo.
Haribo.
Thanks for anyway, Magic on Mira Road. That was Radha Bhakti, the author. Really impressive. And thanks to everybody for joining us live. Let's spin this camera around. Everybody wave. You can wave to the camera here. We got a big local crew. And then we're going to upload this whole thing to the podcast soon. Right now, we're just live on Zoom and the people in our room. And now we are winding down for our evening satsang at 6 o'clock. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day. Let the magic continue to flow. Namaha Haribo.